Welcome to Pop C with Sandra Z. I'm your host, Sandra Z. For episode 6, I want to discuss the Olympics. Much has been said about Canada's race to the podium. What is this? Why should we care? After watching the Olympics, I wonder why the Canadian Olympic team and others were placing so much emphasis on medal count instead of supporting our athletes in their endeavors. It is an amazing feat and accomplishment to make it to the Olympics and to be an Olympic athlete. I wonder if the Own the Podium campaign intent was to create controversy, because it did. There was a lot of money invested in ensuring that Canadian athletes produced medals at these Olympics. In fact, as the host nation, the pressure was on, and it usually is to any country that is the host. However, our Olympic athletes who put all of their blood, sweat, and tears on the line in conditioning and training and performing need ongoing support for their endeavors. It is well known that the Canadian athletes are not funded well in comparison to other athletes from so-called developed nations. Furthermore, the push is not necessarily there or heard as loudly for them to continue to do well. This might be in part to our Canadian nature, which essentially means being polite and saying thank you and please, and cheering for others besides ourselves. All of that is good, and winning is always good. But perhaps the problem here lies in the form of patriotism. Canadians should be more patriotic and supportive of our athletes. Funding needs to be more comprehensive to ensure that these athletes are not struggling to make ends meet. All in all, I found the program to be highly problematic and placed so much pressure on our athletes to perform and to bring home medals. That was not my only issue with the Olympics. In fact, I took great issue and concern with the opening ceremonies. My students also voiced their opinions on this matter in class. The way in which the Native people were portrayed as entertainers in the opening ceremonies made me sad to think that this nation, built on native land and colonized, used the native image and persona to suggest that we are all one, when in fact, that could be further from the truth. Natives still do not receive equality, and in fact, it was only recently that apologies were made for the residential school system. I took issue with the ways in which the Native people were performers during the opening ceremonies. They danced, and reporters from around the world commented on how well those natives dance. They took on the role of savage beasts, and all in all, it was a spectacle, one that, as a proud Canadian, greatly disappointed me. One of the other things that stood out for me was the fact that the majority of our winter athletes at these Olympics were white. Why? So many people have said the Summer Olympics are normally held in a warm climate, which facilitates a space for visible minorities. I think that is completely inaccurate and preposterous. Does that mean that visible minority men and women don't play winter sports in Canada? Why is it that no one is really addressing the issue? Or that no one finds it a problem that we as a supposed mosaic, a multicultural and diverse nation that welcomes all and is equal, does not have an adequate representation of visible minority athletes at our own games? A problem? You betcha. Something to think about. This was Sandra Z signing off from Pop C with Sandra Z. Till next time, proud Canadians.